Hi there, everyone. Welcome to the Guest List podcast. This is me, your host, Steve Guest. Welcome to today's show. Now, a bit of an introduction, first of all. I've created this podcast on the back of really my book, Top Biller, doing well and surprising me in the journey, in all fairness. And I wanted to create something that continues to add value and to inspire listeners and help them stay motivated and push on through personal journeys. I put a post out on social media a couple of weeks ago and asked my network who has inspired them, who motivates them, who would they like to listen to on the podcast. And today's guest was someone that was put forward. I'm genuinely excited and eager to get to know the guest for today. So without further ado, Michaela Wain, welcome along.
Hello, thanks for having me, Steve. And I've only just realised the play on your surname, Guest List. That's really clever, and I am thick for not knowing that.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yes, I thought it was very clever, but...
Yes,
So,
sorry.
yeah.
I realised when you said it, I'm like, oh, Steve gets Guest List. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. Well, a quick bio on Michaela for anyone that doesn't know Michaela, which I don't think will be many, to be honest. BBC Apprentice finalist, owner of Framework Marketing, managing director for Design and Build UK, managing director for Vantage Utility Connections, director for We Connect Construction, NFBs ambassador for Women in Construction, public speaker, podcast host, mom of two. Have I missed anything?
God, no, I'm amazed at myself. I'm inspired by myself. I forgot how
Well
much
done,
I do.
you.
Yeah, that's everything, though. Well done. Oh, my God. Did you hear that?
What was that?
Could you hear that then? Sorry, I know. I don't know. Thunder or something. I'm not sure. Sorry.
That is some bio, Michaela. How? First question. How do you find the time?
Yeah, I don't know. I actually don't know. I think I am really regimented, scheduled. Everything is planned out. I have an amazing network to help me with my children, and I've got fabulous teams within all of my businesses as well to run bits of things when I can't be there. So for me, it's all about scheduling, planning, and being super, super organised.
Yeah, I've made a history, really, certainly in recruitment over the last 15 years, of being that process, procedure, borderline OCD, spreadsheet savvy. Everything's got its place, and I think that's what's enabled me perhaps to be a little bit different in recruitment. I call them people like perhaps you and I, the extended time people. It's where you look at an individual and you think, how are they doing all of this? You have the same number of hours as anyone else in the day. How do you prioritize where you spend your time?
I mainly follow the money, to be honest.
Yeah.
So wherever I'm needed to bring money in is where I'm going to be. A lot of my companies are running themselves. I've got amazing directors and like I said, fabulous teams within them. So a lot of them are taking over themselves, and then I'll just sit on the board and step in when I need to do. So I work more on the businesses rather than within them, and form the strategic plans to scale, expand, exit, whatever that might be at that time. And then I literally schedule time in for my partner and my children. I know that sounds perhaps awful to people, like you shouldn't have to, but I have to do it. Yeah. So every day between 5 and 7 o'clock, I will not have my phone. I won't reply to people unless I think it's an emergency, but I'll rarely reply to people. I don't answer the phone. I don't do social media. I just spend time cooking with the kids, reading books, bath time, whatever happens in those 2 hours. But those 2 hours every single day during the week are dedicated to my children, because otherwise all of this is for nothing if I never see them.
That's it, isn't it? And if I'm honest, I struggle with that. So I'm married with 2 kids, and obviously the joys of homeschooling and everything else at the moment. To be fair, my lovely wife deals with the majority of that, and I kind of do the work stuff. But allowing that downtime, allowing that ability to, I think you have to schedule it in, because otherwise you'll just continue through it, wouldn't you?
Well, yeah, you forget. And don't get me wrong, there will be days, if there's something major that has to be dealt with work, then it has to be dealt with, and that is what it is. But I consciously make the effort to ensure that my children have got my full attention for those 2 hours, because otherwise they grow up so fast and you're going to miss so much. And the whole reason for me doing anything that I'm doing work-wise is to give my children a good life, and it's not going to be a good life if they don't know the mother. So I think it's for me, it's really important, or else I get the mum guilt and I won't focus as well at work. And you know, just like I was scheduling time to exercise, whatever that might look like at this current time. But everything, I do things for myself as well, because if I don't, then I'm not going to be productive in work. So I make sure that I do have that balance.
Yeah. And in terms of your businesses, obviously you talk about you work on your business, not in the business. And having recruited professionals for 15 years and worked at both ends of the scale, so I've placed managing directors and I've placed graduates, quite often what I find is there'll be people that will be in a senior position, but they struggle to delegate, they struggle to outsource, they struggle to allow people the autonomy to do the role that they're employed to do. How have you managed that? How have you enabled yourself to kind of step away? Is it just something you've always been able to do?
I don't think so, no, but I'm also lazy, Steve, so I like to delegate. I'm not just doing it. And then if people are like, I can't do it, I'm like, you can, you'll figure it out.
Yeah.
If I figure it out, you can. So I'm all about training people. I want to employ leaders, not followers, really. I'd rather have somebody work for me for 5 years who wants to learn from me, wants to grow themselves, and they then can go on and do their own thing, start their own business, do whatever they're doing. But I need people who are going to be self-reliant, who are going to think outside the box, who are going to educate themselves. If I give them something I don't like, I can't do this. Even if they're struggling, I'd rather hear the response of, I'm unsure of this, Michaela, can you help me? Or do you know where I can figure this out, rather than I just can't do this. Those aren't the people for me. So it's difficult at first when people come in, but we explain the culture of our companies. So, you know, sometimes people can feel like they're thrown in the deep end, but that's when you see if they sink or swim.
Well, you've been obviously put forward as someone I should talk to in terms of being inspiring, and you have the ability to motivate and get the best out of people. How do you feel that works with you? What do you do? I mean, you've kind of touched on it there, I think, a little bit. But how do you get the best out of people? What do you do to inspire them?
I don't know, Steve. But do you know what? I get told that I'm inspirational by people, but I don't feel like I'm any different to anybody else. So, you know, I really suffer a lot with imposter syndrome on a daily basis, probably. And there's times I feel like, oh, I'm winging it. And then I have to have a reality check and be like, oh, I can't have winged it for 11 years. Like, I obviously know something. So I couldn't really say, oh, this is how you motivate someone, because I don't know the answer to that. I just believe in, if I can help somebody, then I will help them, and I will train people as best as I can. And I think if you're a strong leader and you work hard and people are seeing that work ethic, then naturally that motivates people, because they think like, oh God, she's grafting. I can't just sit here on my ass and do nothing because she's paying my wage. So I think that's just what it is. I just work really hard, and I just help other people to work hard and learn and develop themselves. And maybe that's what it is.
So
sorry,
what I mean, no, I think that is the answer. And I think sometimes you have certain, I suppose, character traits, and you have certain abilities that put you into the position you are. I mean, you're managing director, you're running numerous businesses. You have the ability to put yourself in moments of perhaps being uncomfortable or outside of your comfort zone to get things done. That's tremendously difficult for most people, and most people would shy away because they've hit the hurdle, or they've hit something that says it's uncomfortable, so they back away. It's a human self-preservation type trait, isn't it? And you've consistently and constantly proved over the last 11 years, from what we can see, and probably before that you're just willing to take things head on and make them happen.
Yeah, so 2 points on this. Number one, my favourite saying by Winston Churchill, when you're going through hell, keep going. I always remember that when I'm having a shitty time. But the main thing, I believe, what has helped my mindset be this way, where I don't stop, is when I was younger, I was a middle distance runner and long distance for the age group that I was in. And when you're in the middle of a field and you've lost your shoes and you're covered in shit and everybody's running past you, and then you see a big hill coming and you're like, oh my God, how am I going to get up it? What I would always notice, and I was really good. I used to represent the Northwest. I mean, I wasn't like, I used to represent the Northwest, so I was good for my age. And what I would always see is when these hills come, then all the girls would start walking because you're knackered, so you're going to do. And at that point, I knew if I just dig deep, I can leg it past them, and the chances are I'm going to get to the front. So when everybody else is flagging and struggling, that is when I would be like, right, now is the time. Like, I'm just find the boost of energy from somewhere. You know, people will wait to the end because they can see the finish line, and I would wait for the most challenging point, and then basically like one of those vultures sweep on past everybody. And my mum would be on the sidelines screaming, if you don't fucking win, you're going to be grounded. So that also motivated me.
Yeah.
But I really think because I had that mindset from being younger, and I've learned those lessons and knew if I could just dig really deep, I'm going to get there and I'm going to achieve what I want to achieve. I really believe that that's helped me in business because I'm used to overcoming those challenges. And you know, it's just a crossover skill. I think it's really important to get your children into all kinds of sport, but definitely a solo sport, so they can get this mindset as well.
I love that. I actually love that story because you sit there and you think, you read stuff about observe the masses and do the opposite. And it's the same sort of context. You look at the current pandemic and businesses not obviously doing well from a recruitment perspective and a personal view. I look at lots of recruiters on furlough, lots of recruiters sat at home. And yes, it's tough. Yes, it's more difficult than it's ever been. But I sit here and I think, do you know what? If I can just push a little bit harder, if I can just make those extra calls, you can grab a bit of market share, you can come out bigger and stronger and actually run past those people that are perhaps slowing down. And 100%. I love the analogy. I love the story.
I think everybody has got it in them. And the people who succeed in this world are the ones who don't stop. As soon as you stop, you don't. But if you do not stop, if you do not give up, and you just keep on pushing through, you can do it. If you went for a run tomorrow, you'd get to. Normally it's me about 5 minutes in, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm breathing out my ass. I can't continue. It's like -7 at the moment. Oh, it feels like -7 where we are in London. And I'm like, oh, I can't carry on, but I can. So I just do. You can carry on. There's nothing physically stopping me. I've not just lost my leg. I'm not having an heart attack. I can carry on. And it's the same when it comes to business. There is nothing stopping you other than your own mind. There's nothing stopping you from thinking, do you know what? Every single day, I'm going to reach out to 10 new prospects. That's what I'm going to do. And then over the course of the week, that's 50 people. Over the course of the month, that's 200 people. Somebody's going to convert. Somebody will convert out of that. So just set yourself, it's real challenging times, set yourself the smallest of goals, something that you know that you can achieve. If you start setting long distance goals, ridiculous goals, things unachievable, you'll start, your brain will be saying to you, you failed again, you failed again, you failed again. Set yourself something really small. This is going to take me 2 hours to reach out to 10 people every day. You know you can do it. The month then's going to come and you're going to pat yourself on the back and be like, yes, I did that. And then you'll slowly start seeing the return on these small things. So when you are going through shit and your head's not really with it, what you need to do is reduce those goals back, do something realistic and start taking the baby steps again. Build yourself up. Before you know it, you'll be a millionaire.
This time next year. Yeah. I love that though. And I think, as I say, I was always one of those people that you almost kind of build in your self-limiting beliefs, and your instant thought is, I can't do that. I'm never going to be able to do that. I've tried that before. It never works. And you almost find yourself repeating it, and it just becomes a wall that you can't get past.
No, that's why you need to strip it back and just imagine. Sometimes we're so awful to ourselves. I said this in my girl group chat the other day. Me and my friend had been together and I was like, oh, I need another nose job. I want my eyes doing. I'm going to get liposuction. I was like, can you imagine if somebody spoke to us this way and was like, oh, you're fat, you're ugly. I was like, honestly, I've knocked their head off. Why are we doing this to ourselves? And I think it's the same in business. You know, you'll start beating yourself up saying, can't do this, can't do that. If somebody else was speaking those words to you, you'd be like, talking about, mate? Of course I can do it. And it'll give you the drive to carry on. So sometimes we've just got to be a bit kinder to ourselves as well. And again, I'm a firm believer in really scaling back those goals, realistic goals, bite size, even if it's a 15-minute goal a day, just strip it back. What can I actually achieve today? Get in the routine of achieving things again, stripping it all back. Right, this is what I can do. This is what I can do. I did that. And before you know it, your business will be hopefully formed again, and you'll have built the foundations to move on.
Well, that's it. And you become stronger then, don't you? You become more confident in your own ability, and actually you can push the boundaries that little bit further.
Definitely.
Okay. So I've made a note here, and it's something on your bio that I picked up on. And it really resonates with me because I feel years ago I was in a similar place. So you talk about the fact that you had social anxiety issues going back some time. And the answer for you to kind of help yourself get through that was to go on The Apprentice, which has an average viewing figure of 5.8 million people. There's probably easier solutions to that.
Oh my God, I know.
Was that just the extreme of the extreme?
Yeah, really. Because basically, around when I was about 21, so I lie that much about my age. I forgot how old I was. About 15 years ago, I was just going through some shit, and I got really wrapped up in it all. And from 21 to maybe 22 to 25, it was really bad. I was having 6 panic attacks a day. At one point, I didn't leave my house for about 6 months, and it was all sorts of. I had a chaotic life at the time. There was all sorts going on, and I got pregnant with my son at 25 and realised I had to turn my life around. And I started getting better, but the panic attacks and anxiety would come and go in waves. I did all sorts of hypnotherapy and everything, but it was still there, coming and going all the time. And I could feel myself around that time. And again, it was because I wasn't really happy, I think, in my life. There was things going on and I didn't realise I wasn't happy. But I could feel myself slipping back into that person again. And my brother had been on Love Island, and he'd had a whale of a time. And so obviously it's Love Island. And I'm like, right, if he can do it and he's thick as 2 sharp fangs, then maybe this is what I need to do. Just shake my life up, just do something like extraordinary, have a good time, see what happens. And I said to my mum, like, oh, can you imagine if I'm on telly for 4 weeks? And, I got all the way in the end. But it was very difficult. I have never sweat as much in my life as what I did from those auditions to completing that process. I was constantly piss wet through it. Was, but I've not had I had 1 panic attack since then, but it's because I had bloody paracetamol with caffeine in when I had an hangover. so that's the only
self-induced.
I've never had a panic attack since. So it really helps, and I can fall back on that. It's like my armour now for when my brain's saying, like, oh, panic. I think, oh God, I got fired off Lord Sugar. You can do anything, Michaela.
Yeah, but I mean that show is ruthless. I mean, obviously from the viewer's perspective, we don't get to see everything that goes on, but it's ruthless. And you are there to be ridiculed, critiqued, torn apart, torn down, questioned, reviewed, all of those sorts of things. You are on a platform where people can just come and have a go if they want to. And you've gone in there with all these worries, troubles, anxiety issues and everything else. That's a phenomenal kind of backbone.
Do you know what, Steve? Anything that's my weakness, I try and use it as a strength. And I think because I was really incredibly anxious, how they got me talking in any scenes for the first couple of episodes is beyond me, because I couldn't get words out. I was like, I'm constantly like, and it just,
do they not test all of that though before you get there? Do they not put you through a rigorous kind of?
Yeah, they do in the audit, but it's very different. And they knew anyway. I had told them, like I suffer with anxiety, and they obviously they sensed that. And I was always, they do this thing where they're like, oh, this is in the auditions, line yourself up, who you think earns the most money to who earns the least, and there's like 12 of you or whatever. And so everybody is organising in themselves, and I wouldn't. And then they come through, because I didn't know where everybody was at, to be honest, as well. Like, you're looking around and everybody's like, oh, I'm amazing and they're good looking and all this shit. So I was just like, oh, go in the middle and see. And then I knew they were saying it to me. One of the producers was like, "Your turnover of your business is count." I was like, oh, "Fuck's sake!" And so then I went to the top, and then there was this woman like, "I think I should stay here," and I was like, oh, "Fucking sweet, you're gonna get embarrassed in a minute." And I'm not being big-headed when I say that, but I knew what my turnover was. I was established. We was doing well, and yeah, she was like, "Yeah, turnover £100,000." I was like, "Oh God!" And then I was embarrassed to say it as well. And so I was like, "Yeah, we turned over just short of 4 million." And she just looked at me like, "Oh my God!" But I think they knew throughout this process, like I was a bit nervous and a bit shy about.
Yeah.
I would never go about telling people these things. I'm quite private with that. And sorry, I completely digressed there. But the point was, like, throughout the process, I used like my anxiety and this nervous thing really to my advantage. Lord Sugar felt really sorry for me, and I wasn't one of these who would scream over people in the boardroom. I was very good at sales when I was out and about on the street, and I wasn't in this high pressure environment. And this does get fed back to him. Like, Claude really loved me. I'm still good friends with him now, and so he knew what I was capable of. I didn't have to come in and talk myself up because I was just doing it. So because of that, I think my shyness helped me throughout the process. People who I lived with liked me because of it, and I am just a bit of an idiot at times as well. I like to have a laugh in my life. I don't take myself too serious. So if I make mistakes, I'll hold my hands up. I'm not, we all make mistakes, and I can laugh at myself. I can take the piss out of myself. So I think that just really helped me make friends, and they become loyal friends, and that helped me throughout the full process. So what would be seen as a weakness actually ended up being a strength.
Yeah, but I think that's you as well, because there's many points during this kind of relatively short conversation that you have adversity, you have problems, you have worries, but actually you've learned to flip them so that they become the driver. They become the fuel to your fire that actually makes you a stronger person. Because many people will find them overwhelming and they'll consume them and they'll just stop them in their tracks. But you found a way to just use them and develop them and actually make you a stronger person and stronger in business.
Yeah, I think it's important for everybody to do that. Just really know yourself and own yourself, and just stop giving a shit about what everybody else thinks. My life has been so free since I've stopped worrying about if people like me, if they don't, and did I say that right? Did I say that? It still happens. I was in a group chat this morning. I was on Clubhouse and I said something, and then somebody else said something totally different after, and I was like, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. I'm cringing in the car. I've gone right again. And everybody's like, it's fine, Michaela, don't worry. So it still does happen, and I'm relatively successful, and it still happens to me. But I don't care as much. I don't really. That's not going to stay in my mind all day now and me, obsessed about it. Like, oh, I'm going to do that. I can't go in Clubhouse again. It's just, you've just got to own yourself.
You're just human, aren't you? You're human and you're genuine. And as long as you're comfortable in who you are and what you do and what you say, then there's no right or wrong, is there?
And do you know what? And I think people see through bullshit, and people still buy people to this day. That's why brands are getting behind the person who owns the brand. So it's all about your personal brand now, and then you're pushing through to your business, because people still buy people. That's what they're interested in. If you're just an honest and open person, you say, no, I can't do that for you, or yes, I can do this, and you're not cramming sales down the throat, and you're just trying. People can see, you're trying. I did a post on LinkedIn saying, like, all my staff are on furlough. Will somebody please buy some marketing services off me so I can fucking take them back? I'm really skint. And I got 7 clients off it. It was amazing, and it got huge traction, and it was just an honest. But I think people just like honesty,
Yeah, it's delivering on what you say you're going to deliver on. And again, you make that statement, don't you? You don't promise the world, but you'll deliver on what you say you're going to deliver on.
Exactly.
And that's really important character trait, and quite often, certainly in sales, that's lacking.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I know my own sales reps at times. They'll be selling something, I'm like, okay, I think I need to take on a new graphic designer for what you've just sold. What the hell is this? And so, I know there's obviously there's a lot of people who are full of shit, but I just live by being as honest as I can and say, I cannot promise you the world, but if I say I can do this for you, then I will fulfill what I say I'm going to do for you. And, you know, you get clients who become friends. A lot of my clients have been with us for the whole 11 years. And then clients become friends become business partners. That's how I've set up some of my businesses as well. So, yeah, just be nice. Just don't be a dick.
Yeah. Okay. So over the years, so you've obviously met a lot of inspirational people. I know you've interviewed some real high level elite people on the podcast, and you mingle with celebs and this, that, and the other. But who, if you had to kind of perhaps pick, I don't know, 2 or 3 people that have really genuinely inspired you, or you've spent time with someone you've just thought, that is why I do everything, who would they be? Who are the ones that kind of stand out?
So when I started my business, I didn't really have anybody. I didn't have a role model. Like my parents obviously are fabulous, but that's just typical. They weren't in business though, so I didn't have anybody to look to. I did what I did because I'd hit a glass ceiling and I didn't want to continue where I was. So I didn't really have anybody then. It's only been since The Apprentice that I've realised how important mentors are, coaches, inspirational figures, and surrounding yourself with people who are like you. Since The Apprentice, my mindset has changed massively, and the way that I structure my business and how I work on my business now has all completely changed, because I'm just sucking information out of anybody and everybody who is more successful than me. So there's several people really, but what I would say is, and as cheesy as this sounds, Harrison is my partner. I met him on The Apprentice, and we're not like some lovey-dovey couple, but he probably is at this moment in time. I think your inspiration changes as well as you change as a business, but he probably is the most inspirational person in my life, because number one, I see him all the time. Although we live apart still, I do see him and speak to him more than anybody else. He's constantly encouraging me on. He knows where my weaknesses are in my business, in my personal life, but everything. He knows everything about me, and he will say to me, Michaela, that is shit. You need to do this. And he introduces me to people. He makes me feel good about myself. He never holds me. I've had previous relationships before Harrison where, you know, and no fault to these people. They're not business owners. They don't understand. So they say, you can't do this and you can't do that. And slowly that gets into your head. Whereas Harrison's like, Michaela, you're doing this. You need to be doing that. Like, you're doing 5 million. You should be doing 50 million. And I'm like, fucking hell. Back up. But he pushes me on every single day, most days, you know, and I think that's really important, to have somebody who understands business and who is willing to say to you, this isn't good. That is good. Change this about yourself. That's not good, you know, and try doing this and adapt this way, blah, blah, blah. So for the time being at the moment, it probably is Harrison until he starts annoying me.
I think it's good just to have, I mean, me and my wife, we've been together, 21 years? It's 21 years this year. We met as holiday reps in Ventura a long time ago. And that was me getting out of my comfort zone to go and do something, because I was the quiet, unassuming. I chose holiday reps, not The Apprentice, to push me out of my zone. But she challenges me, and we're like complete opposites. I'm the spreadsheet person. She's the spontaneity one. She's the one that will plan all the nice stuff, and I'll go and invest my money over there. And it's like, less of that, less of the future. Let's do something today. But you need it. And I think you need people that are willing to tell you what you don't want to hear. As long as
and do you know what? I think people look like you have to find inspiration in, like, Lord Sugar. He makes billions of pounds like that. That isn't realistic. He is levels and levels and levels ahead of me. I need somebody, and which I do this. So I'm surrounded with people who are turning over a similar amount to me, people who are turning over more than me, and people who are turning over less than me. And I think you need this equal split. So, you know, I can help you. I can talk you through what I've done. I can discuss with people where I'm at right now, and I can aspire to be like this person who's just a couple of levels ahead of me. I think it's important that you surround yourself with people in a similar circle to you, so it's realistic advice that you're getting as well. But, you know, Harrison is a start. He's got a startup business. He's just gone through, and and got an investment from like that Cedars thing. God, yeah, he's at that point right now. But I take inspiration from him getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning, going delivering food all around London, then going into his kitchen, making food, then coming home and working on his marketing plan. And he's working 16, 17 hours a day, sacrificing not seeing his son all the time because he has to be in London because that's where his kitchen is. And I have to be up north because that's where my business is. And his work ethic is like nobody else that I know. The amount of effort he is putting into making this business succeed is I've never seen it before. I didn't even do that with my companies. And I think it doesn't need to be somebody who's making more money than you. It just has to be somebody who's making moves that you can look at and think, you know what, if they're doing it, I can do it.
Yeah, I mean that is crazy work ethic.
Yeah,
and it's rare, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
That must inspire as well.
Hmm?
That must inspire as well.
Of course, yeah. I mean, I just think if he can work all of these long hours, then I really need to stop moaning about getting up at 6:30. Like. And you know, it's challenging at times because it puts sort of more weight on me to manage the family side of things. But you've got to support each other. It is, and so yeah. The point being, don't look to people with millions and millions of pounds. Look to people, you know, who are similar to you, maybe a couple of steps ahead, or Harrison's worlds ahead of me when it comes to work ethic. So, you know, look for those kind of people and surround yourself with them, I think.
So I just want to touch on one last thing because obviously we've covered so many areas there and you've come out with so many little nuggets of value and gold for people. But I just want to grab the fact that you're the ambassador for women in construction, the NFBs ambassador, and that is a mammoth task. Having myself worked in construction for 15 years, recruiting professionals in a very male-dominated industry. I mean, obviously you've been in construction as well. Where's that going? Where's that kind of leading to? Where did it come from?
So it was thrust upon me, to be honest, off the back of the Apprentice. I didn't even realise I was a woman in construction. I didn't know it was a thing. I had been very fortunate. I had been discriminated against, but it had never really registered with me. I just thought you're an op and then carried on. You know, I didn't realise, actually, they're saying this because of this. And after the Apprentice, I had hundreds and thousands of women getting in touch with me over the course of time saying, how do you deal with this? How do you deal with that? What's this? What's that? And so I found myself advising women all the time. And then I started getting asked onto panels and doing public speaking about it. And then the NFB got in touch and I became their ambassador. And since then, since hearing the stories, since seeing so many amazing men in construction as well who acknowledge this issue but don't really know what to do and don't know how to communicate it, I just thought, you know what, I need to get involved here, remove myself, this not be a business, this not be about business, and see if I can do something to bring the industry together. And this sounds like really overwhelming, and how the hell are you going to do it? But I'm not overwhelmed, and I know, I'm 100% certain that I am going to change this industry. I know it. I'm now collecting people, directors of blue chip companies, the CITB, universities, colleges, schools, recruitment people. I'm tapping you up. And I am forming a roadmap to take to the government to regulate within the construction industry and ensure by, which the roadmap isn't formed, but ensure by 2026 that we will have got the industry from 13% women to 23% women, and instead of 1% on the tools, up to 5% on the tools. Realistic goals, and then making sure that we can spread this down through the industry and it not be in one organisation. The key here is, in construction, people are looking at themselves like, I want to lead the way, I am going to do this, and it's selfish of that organisation. What they need to do is say, how can we change the industry? I want this to extend beyond that. So in walks me with my master plan. So I'm trying to bring everybody together and change the industry. And it's happening. It is happening. You know, I don't dog men out. We need men to be successful in construction. All of my mentors within construction have all been male. I'd love it to be female. There just isn't that many out there. And they've all been male, and every helping hand I've had pretty much has been a man. So I think it's, you know, it's really important that we use men to get our message across, and do as much as we can to really change this industry, retain women, attract women, and decrease the skills gap shortage that is going to become increasingly worse due to Brexit.
Well, it's always been a candidate-led market. There's always been a severe lack of good people in construction anyway. Whether you,
I think it comes down to schools, though. You know, what's happening in schools is they get paid money to retain them into doing their A-levels, and I think they get paid a lot of money. So they're really trying to force that down children's throats rather than saying, take an apprenticeship. And it ends up being the children in Peru schools. I go and do a lot of talks in Peru schools, you know, when they've been expelled from everywhere else, and they end up in these schools. And it's those schools where then they're pushing construction on them, as if like, oh, for construction, oh, that's all you're good for construction, as if it's like a shit industry. And I'm like, number one, good, you should be pushing it on them, because it's probably the best industry we've got, and you're going to earn an absolute shit ton of money. So what you need to start doing is stop telling everybody to teach somebody something, be teachers, and bloody nonsense jobs, go into media, or tell them about construction and all the different opportunities and all the money. There is loads and loads of money. Tell people about that, tell the kids about it. But it's gonna be a mammoth task. This is gonna be difficult, and we're gonna have to get a lot of people on side to change it, and it's gonna take years. But I genuinely, I know that I'm gonna do it.
Well, I'm on board. If I can help, if I can get involved, then
I need everybody's help. Everybody who is in construction, on the cusp of construction, remotely connected to construction. I need everybody's help, and all parents who aren't in construction, educate your children, please. This is not about digging holes on a construction site. You can be a quantity surveyor, you can be an engineer, you can be an architect. This isn't about being up to the neck in shit. Women are capable of doing this. I know women who do this on a daily basis. It's loads of fun. There's loads of prospects, and there's loads of money. If you want your kids to be successful, push them into construction.
Michaela, I have loved every minute of this. Where, if there's people out there that are looking to find you, it is relatively easy to find you, to be fair, on social media, but where would you want people to kind of make that first point of contact?
Yeah, I'm most active on LinkedIn and Instagram. So LinkedIn, I can't connect with people anymore. You have to follow me, but I'm always checking my inbox, and Instagram as well. One of those two. Or I'm super, super active on Clubhouse at the moment. So if you just want an actual chat, then get into Clubhouse and come in one of my rooms. Good
stuff. Look, thank you so much for spending some time with me. I have enjoyed every single minute of that. So much appreciated.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good luck.